Welcome to A Gut Feeling, where we talk about all things related to the gut. My name is Janine, and 2 years ago, I was diagnosed with ulcerative colitis. So what is ulcerative colitis? So when you look at the word colitis, the suffix of that word is itis, which stands for inflammation. It's a medical term for inflammation. So any word with the suffix itis at the end of it stands for inflammation. The prefix to that word, the beginning of the word, tells you where the inflammation is found. So for colitis, it means inflammation of the colon. You'll find itis in other words like arthritis, bronchitis, colitis, hepatitis, but ulcerative colitis is inflammation of the large intestine or the colon, and the inside of the colon is just lined with ulcers. It looks terrible and it feels even worse. And the difficult thing about ulcerative colitis is your stomach or your gut doesn't usually get much of a break because it's always digesting food, and so things are passing through your colon and it's just irritating these ulcers. And so it can be difficult to get this to heal. So there's different amounts of severity when it comes to ulcerative colitis. And for different people, different parts of the colon are affected. So there's proctitis, which is just the very bottom of the colon, like at the rectum area, is inflamed and the rest of the colon is fine. You have left-sided colitis, which means the left side of your colon down to the bottom is inflamed. And then you have pancolitis, which means the entire colon is inflamed. So when I got my diagnosis, I also actually had an infection called C. diff. So it was a little bit hard for the doctors to tell me how severe my case was, but they said it was severe to pancolitis. So most of my colon is affected and inflamed and has ulcers. So what are the symptoms of ulcerative colitis? Well, first off, you usually have diarrhea, extreme diarrhea, sometimes running to the bathroom 20, 30 times a day, depending how severe your case. Often there's blood and mucus. You have pain in your bum. You have urgency. And if you hear the term urgency and it doesn't resonate with you, then you're very lucky. I remember when I used to hear when people would say they couldn't make it to the bathroom in time, it just didn't resonate with me. To me, it was just like, well, why don't you just hold it in? But it is so desperate. And when you have ulcerative colitis and such an extreme condition, if you can't get to the bathroom within a minute or even sometimes like 30 seconds, you just cannot simply make it. And it's an awful feeling. It leads a lot of people to depression and anxiety because you're stuck in your home a lot of the time. You're scared to leave. You're always anxious about where the closest bathroom is. Like for me, if I'm in a severe flare, it's very scary for me to leave the house, to even go to town. I only live like 15 minutes from town. 15 minutes is a long time if you suddenly have to go to the bathroom, because even when I'm here at home, if I'm working outside, sometimes it's very hard for me to just make it from outside inside. And so it's a really real thing to those of us that suffer with ulcerative colitis or Crohn's. Some people also experience urgency, but you can't actually go to the bathroom. And so what happens is, at least for me, my stomach will go into convulsions. And it's almost a little bit like when you're sick and you're throwing up and you're dry heaving. It's a little bit what it feels like, but from the other end. So your stomach is just sitting there and convulsing with cramps and pain, and it hurts so bad, and it's trying to eliminate waste. But sometimes there's no waste there. Something's just aggravating your nerves a little bit, or maybe there is and you're half constipated and you can't get rid of it, or whatever the case. It is common to have like this extreme urgency where it just feels like you really, really have to go, and like you have this extreme diarrhea, but you're sitting there and you cannot go. The funny thing is, before I had this issue, you wouldn't catch me talking bathroom talk. Like it was just too humiliating. And here I am telling the world about my issues. But if I can help someone, or even just, I know for me, watching other people give their stories and say, you know what, this is what I'm dealing with, it just made me feel like I'm not so alone in my journey. Even if they didn't have answers, just hearing their story and knowing, you know what, there's other people that know what I'm going through. So another symptom, of course, I talk a little bit about is depression and anxiety. And this is actually a huge one. When you're sick like this, depression and anxiety is a big battle, a really big battle, because it just affects every area of your life. Your social life is usually just kind of snatched from you. You're just constantly thinking about bathrooms and where can I find my next bathroom, and what can I eat? Will this food just go right through me? Will it feel like I'm eating glass? Will I be stuck in the bathroom for the next hour? It's just not a fun life to live. So doctors will tell you that this is an incurable disease, and they will also tell you that food has nothing to do with it. And I disagree with that, because from the research that I have done, the people that I have followed, and my own personal experience, I believe food plays a huge role in ulcerative colitis. The hardest thing is just finding out what works for you. I do believe there are answers for healing. They may not be easy, but I do believe a person can be healed from IBD, or at least have symptoms almost disappear. There are different people that I follow that are huge inspiration to me that have found healing through diet a completely natural way, and they're living normal lives. And so my goal, with God's help, is that I want to add my name to the list of people that have been healed from Crohn's or ulcerative colitis. And so I plan to be one of these people, and so can you. So if you want to join me on this journey, please subscribe and hit the little bell button so you don't miss any time I upload a new video. And thanks a lot for watching, and I wish you the best of health.